It was the most traumatic, trauma-inducing, low vibrational relationship I have ever been in my life. Not to say that that person is a terrible person, they just were not right for me.
Yeah, you better. Cause you want this, I want this. Everybody in this world should have it. Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Yeah, you better. Take the time to recognize it. You won't leave me even if you tried it. You're the artist, I'm the mess, and happily be found the new in your hands.
Sara Fontenot, international speaker, self-love advocate, and powerhouse business strategist. In just 6 months, she grew her first venture from 250,000 to over 1 million and has since built multiple 6- and 7-figure brands. As the host of the acclaimed It's Giving podcast, Sara shares deep wisdom on self-discovery, mindset, and entrepreneurship, reaching a global audience. Her mission: to help people build the life and business they love through strategy, confidence, and belief. Beyond business, Sara is also an actress, speaker, philanthropist, and investor, known for helping others break through limitations and transform their lives inside and out. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson, where nothing is off limits. Today, I'm so excited. I have been looking forward to this interview for since we planned it, girl, since we planned it. And I have Sara Fontenot. Is that how I say it? Fontenot?
Yes, you. Yes, you got it right.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you so much, Sara, for joining me today. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Can you tell a little bit about yourself for people that don't know?
Yeah, absolutely. First, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on the show. I am so excited for this podcast. I know it's going to touch, impact, and transform lives all over the place because you are so consistent in your content and the way that you show up for people to become their best them and learning things that none of us really knew about. So I'm just so grateful for you and this new platform. It's going to be amazing. Yes, yes, yes. And a little bit about me. Hi, guys. I'm Sara Fontenot. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm an international speaker. I am an actress. I'm a director. I'm a podcaster. And more than any of that, because those are just labels, who I really am is I'm just a woman that believes we can be, do, and have anything that we want to be, do, and have, but you have to move in alignment with it and be willing to take the things that where life's no matter what. So I just try to be a light in a dark place, with a strong sense of accountability and a strong sense of, let's see, how can we actually get to what it is that you're talking about?
Right, right. And all of that gave me chills. It gave me chills because so much your spirit, I could feel your spirit. And we have very, very similar paths, I think, because business, alignment, self-awareness, inner,
Yes.
I mean, all of it, accountability, like accountability is up here. And it's crazy. So many people don't have that. Why do you
Agreed.
think that is? Why do you think that is?
Because I think that it sucks when you look in the mirror and you understand that you were at the pinpoint of all your pain. Like it sucks taking responsibility for all of the bad decisions that you made. And we really get to see how ugly our spirit has been or even is in the moment. And I also think that we as people, we lack compassion where we're able to say, you know what, I did do that. And then we wrap it in shame and guilt and fear. And then instead of just releasing it, we hold on tight to it because we don't want anyone else to know. We don't want anyone else to figure out. We don't want to. And it's literally like if you just face your, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, and I'm not really a big cusser, but I'm saying it from my chest. If you just face your shit, like life will be so much better when you start taking responsibility for it because now your power is inward instead of placing it outward.
Yes. Oh my God. Say it again for the people in the back. This is what I tell people all the time. Dive deep into the scary parts of yourself because on the other side of that is like magnificence,
Yes.
It's
Yes.
magnificence. And once you take responsibility for all your stuff, exactly, you gain the power back within you to be able to control really your reality because
Yes.
like everything is happening to me for a purpose and a reason, even if it's good, bad, ugly, amazing, right?
Right.
Purpose and a reason. So in alignment. Okay. What does real self-love actually look like after you've been through betrayal, abandonment, or emotional abuse?
Ooh, that is a loaded question. When I tell you the first thing that comes to me, because it's there's so much, but the first thing that I think about is self-love is loving the ugliest parts of self. Self-love is being able to say, you know what? Yes, my past happened, but that's not who I am. Self-love is being able to rectify the parts of and wounds that you have with your own inner child. Because the truth is, I feel like self-love doesn't happen because we're out of integrity and alignment with ourselves. I believe that integrity point is God point source, right? However far away you strive from that, that's where we allow self-hate. That's where we allow doubt and fear and all of those things. And so self-love comes when you can remove all the stuff in the middle and get back to source point, integrity with self. And a lot of people are just too afraid to be honest, or even if, or that ignorance is bliss, right? That's what we say. It's easier to be ignorant. It's easier to pretend like it's everyone else's fault. It's easier to play victim. Let me tell you, the easiest way to release all accountability is to play the victim.
Yeah. Exactly.
Easiest way. And I'm like, nope, no, and no, thanks.
Yes, yes. And you know what? Victimhood isn't even just saying like, oh my God, everything sucks. It's really blaming external sources for what is going on within you. So like,
Yeah.
I've just been through this huge storm in my life. Everything shifted. People left, friends left, employees left, everything just, happened, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what, screw, blah, blah, blah. I'm going off. But I was like, this is me in victim mentality because I'm not taking the power back that, hey, this is divinely happening for a purpose and a reason. And
Yeah.
from fear to faith and
Yes.
process.
Yes.
Girl, it's it's been crazy, crazy. So I know that you teach that self-love is a lifestyle. It's not like destination. So for people that want to shift from victimhood to self-love, how do you suggest that they start?
Man, so I used to have this little book. I probably need to bring it back. And it was the ultimate self-love guide, right? And the ultimate self-love guide guided you through what it means to have self-discipline, self-control, self-respect, self-appreciation. And these different, I believe there was about 7 of them, but it literally broke it down into how to start building. And I think one of the most beautiful ways for you to have self-love and to really start building that confidence with yourself is first and foremost to start keeping the promises you make to yourself. Because when you start to keep the promises you get, it's like, ooh, you start to get a result. When you start to get a result, that result becomes addicting. Once you get addicted to the result, you get addicted to the progress, the process, and the time, the action that it takes to actually keep getting those results. Now you're turning into this better person. So I love when Abraham Hicks says, so am I supposed to tell myself I'm skinny when I'm fat? Yes. Am I supposed to tell myself I'm pretty when I feel ugly? Yes. Am I supposed to do these things? And then again, you move in alignment with what it is that you say that you want. And I think that one of the most powerful things that we can do inside of keeping those promises is instead of focusing on the big goal, like in who do I want to be, focus on who are you becoming? Because that's what the journey is, right? So one of the things that I say all the time, money is the easiest thing to measure. So I'll use money, right? If you want to make $100,000 in your business, $100,000 is only $8,333 a month, which is $277 a day, right? If you know that you've never made $20,000 in your life, $30,000 in your side business, right? If you've never done those things, 100,000 might sound really big. And so what we do is we'll say it, but our inner voice is like, girl, you ain't gonna do that. The market is oversaturated. Why would you even think? And now we don't attract what we think about, we attract what we feel strongest about, right? So if I'm feeling stronger about the fact that I'm never really gonna make it, even though I'm speaking it from my mouth, you're going to attract the negative and not the positive, because negativity is natural. You have to be positive on purpose, right? So instead of getting attached to who do I need to be, it's who am I becoming every single day? Okay, well, $277 a day. How many people do you need to expose your product or service to consistently over time? How many times do I need to focus on rejection? So instead of I am big goal, 6-figure earner, I am becoming the kind of person who. I am becoming the kind of person who will not be turned off by rejection. I am becoming the kind of person who will put my product in front of X amount of people every single day. I am becoming the kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. And then what starts to happen is you become that person. So I think the starting part with self-love is, one, where is it that you want to be? Reverse engineer that goal and then start taking aligned action towards it. And your results will help to build more self-love and more confidence.
I love that. Man, you broke it down to the T. I love that. I love that. So why do so many, because I know so many now, why do so many high achieving women feel unworthy even though they've done healing work?
Oh my goodness, because there's so much that has happened to us in our lives. I got to tell you, Elizabeth, I found out when I was 28 years old. This was a long time ago, okay? I found out when I was 28 years old that I had this story that I created when I was 10 years old because of something that happened to me. I was in school, and growing up, we were like, I was a dirty kid. I'm just going to keep it real. I have seven brothers and sisters. My parents love each other a lot, and my dad ruptured a disc in his back when I was about 10 years old. So we went from a two-family income household to one. And my mom had a full-time job, was going to school full-time, was trying to make sure all of us kids didn't kill ourselves, trying to take care of my dad, also trying to make sure that we weren't homeless. And so needless to say, when I didn't want to make my bed, I didn't have the most accountability there because my mom was trying to make sure that we weren't homeless, right? And we don't listen to our parents anyway. Like at 10-year-old me, I knew all the answers. I knew everything. You couldn't tell me nothing. So, and I've always kind of had that rebel spirit. However, because we're impressionable, when I went to school, girl, there was this one girl, I'm always going to call her Jane Doe. I'll never call her by her real name. And I went to school and I said, "Hey, Jane." And Jane was like the it girl. Okay. She could play guitar. She could play piano. She could sing. She was fast in track. She was beautiful. All the boys loved her. And on top of that, she was nice. Okay. It was like, how do you have everything? You can't even hate her because she's too nice.
Yeah.
And so I remember, when we were growing up or going through the grades, they invite all the students to the house. And when you go to Jane Doe's house, she had every little thing in place. When I tell you, Elizabeth, this girl's house was like Little Miss Muffet. It was perfection, right? Her mom was a stay-at-home mom. Her dad was a police officer. And from my 10-year-old eyes, she had the perfect life.
Yeah.
And what had happened was I asked Jane at 10, I said, "Hey, I really want to be clean like you. I'd love for you to come over and play, but I'm not clean like you. Maybe you can teach me." And she was like, "Yeah, yeah." So the next day she came over and I did my best at cleaning up. I put everything in the closet. I stuffed things under my bed. There's still clutter everywhere though, because I was a dirty kid. Like I did not shower every day. Like it was a different Sarah, okay? And she came over the next day. The following day, when I went back to school, Elizabeth, she told everyone how dirty, disgusting, and nasty I
My
was.
God, are you serious?
Oh, so serious. But the worst part about it is, in that moment, I created a story that said, "If I let you in, you'll betray me." Now,
Mm,
I didn't know that I had that story until I was doing healing work at 28. So for 18 years, I am subconsciously seeking the people, the places, the experiences, the things that will validate and make that story true. It's no wonder why my first ex-fiance almost paralyzed me.
mm,
It's no wonder why the girlfriends I was choosing all slept with my man right after we broke up.
mm,
It was no wonder why all of these terrible things were happening. And then I had to realize, what is my story? And
mm,
it wasn't until, really identifying what stories do I even have that I was able to go back and forgive myself. Like 10-year-old Sarah, okay, yeah, you were dirty, but you chose to be something different now. You can choose to be that girl that has it all, that can sing and can dance and can play whatever instrument, and all the people love her. And in real life, she's nice. I can also take pieces of that girl and become who it is that I want to be. Because the truth is, wherever we feel like we lack and we envy in others, it's a beautiful opportunity for us to be like, "Oh, okay, I get to get better here." But if you're a hater, you're just going to stay where you at. But if you're inspired, then you can change. So I think that you have to identify, in order to really get onto that journey. And why do we have that trauma is, are you even doing that work where you're going back to realize, like, why do I keep doing these same knee-jerk reaction things? Why do I feel stuck inside of this life that I don't want anymore? Why do I feel like I keep attracting the same man with a different name?
mhm.
Why do I keep spending money I know I don't have? Why do I? And then you get to the nitty-gritty when you're real with yourself.
Absolutely. That's why diving into that scary part of yourself is so incredibly important, because you have to get to the root cause. And you're just scratching at the surface until you really dive in there and get to the root of why is it that I keep attracting the same thing, like the same thing. And girl,
Yep.
I've been going through this, like I've literally attracted the same situation just recently that I just went through 6 years ago, literally to the T, to the
Oh my gosh.
T. And it's like
Yep.
now I'm like, okay. I see God. Like I see it now.
Yes.
I see it
Yes.
now. So man, it's just it's so incredibly important for us to really, that's why I try to teach such subconscious work, because to go in there and reroute those neural pathways is like so desperately important, because over time, you said that pathway strengthens.
Yep.
What happened to you when your story you told yourself when you were 10, because those pathways have been firing and firing and firing and firing your whole life. So to be able to rewire that takes work, takes addressing it, takes conscious awareness of where
Yes.
it's coming from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And being okay, like having compassion on the process, because
Yes.
it's not going to get fixed overnight. It's just not, you're not going to go 0 to 100 overnight. You have to be patient with yourself and love yourself and have compassion inside of the journey, because it's hard and it's
Yeah.
ugly and sometimes gut wrenching, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And you know what? The journey is, people overlook the journey. They overlook the gifts of the journey, because you know what?
Yes.
Let me tell you something. When I was just in the thing, it was like, boom, overnight, I got everything that I thought I always wanted. Like I was like, wow, like look at all this stuff. And like, wow, this is a great lifestyle. But inside, I was really unhappy. It was like the things weren't making me happy that I thought were going to make me happy. So it's like, you really have to just get so aligned with who you are and what you want. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I'm simple, a walk down the street to make me happy. I don't need a Rolls Royce. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes, yes.
yes. So, what is one of the biggest lies that women are still believing about their worth right now, these days?
Ooh, what is one of the biggest lies that women tell themselves about their worth? I think that we've make made excuses. I think the lie is that that's true. I
Mhm.
think that a lot of women, especially like, minority women, like I feel like we've been made to believe that we're lesser than and that we should be more susceptible to abuse because we've been through XYZ in the past and our parenting and all of these different things. And the truth is, whatever you subscribe to is what you get.
Mhm.
And I think that there aren't enough voices, especially in on my platform. One of the things I talk about all the time is like, when it comes to relationships, it's almost like the world has turned into this 2025 prostitution era, non-connectedness. It's all about like, take me to dinner, then I'll sleep with you. Like, wait, what? Send me to get my nails done, you can have my body. Like, we're not doing that. I don't even know you. You're gonna get the most precious thing that I have for a $50 dinner. And it's not even about the money, but it's like, what would even make you think that that makes sense? And so I think that a lot of women right now believe that the bar is low. And that's one of the biggest, it's a scam. Sexual liberation, also a scam. All of these things, in my personal opinion, I'm just like, I believe that you should get it how you live it, believe in what you believe in, but don't let these societal norms become your normal if it's not what you want.
Right. And I think a lot of women, especially I really feel like women, what do you think about this? I feel like we're born codependent already. So like
Yeah.
us to get into certain situations, we come into this world and incarnate codependent and without boundaries, because we want family and we want to nurture and we want to serve and we just want to just help, right? It's in our nature. It's in our
Yes.
nature. So how do we break those patterns? Because I think that that's one of the biggest problems these days with women, no boundaries. And then to think like keep going back into toxic situations, thinking that that's all they can get, or I just want to save my family, or you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
women these days fall into these toxic situations and it's hard for them to get out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think the challenge is, there's so much. Oh my gosh, this is like so loaded. I love this conversation. First and foremost, thank you for creating this space to just have these open, real conversations. But when I think about how do women get out of that? We have to understand that most of who we are is borrowed from the culture, right? Statistically speaking, 95% of who we are is borrowed from the culture. So it's our family, our friends, our coworkers, our teachers, the students, our colleagues, our parents, the church, wherever you're going to and frequent the most, whatever you're constantly putting yourself around, it starts to become a part of your identity. Now, not to say that that's the identity that you want, it's just the identity that you become because it's the most familiar. And most times that's what's safe, right? So we're seeking what's safe. And the truth is that we are all duped from our childhood because people are constantly asking us, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be? Well, what is connected to achievement, whereas who is connected to fulfillment? And so we have to get really clear on what is it, who is it that we want to be first, and the what comes after. And I think that because everyone is telling us, even for me, I thought by the time I was 28, I was going to be married, 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl with my girl in the middle, white picket fence, whole dream, 6-figure earner. Like that was the dream for me back in the day, right? And then you realize that it's like, oh, wait, I've been engaged twice and a half times in real life, right? The half, we could talk about that at a whole different time, but I've been engaged before, and it's like, but I don't really like this person. And
Mhm.
so I had to walk away like I don't really want to marry this person, but I'm supposed to get married. I'm supposed to have a family. But if you're seeking marriage and a family, anyone can give that to you. But if
Mhm.
you're seeking peace, joy, happiness, which goes back to understanding yourself, that self-awareness, that self-love, what is it that you actually desire? Now it matters who fills that space. So I think that we have to get out of the indoctrination that comes with society, which is hard because 95% of who we are is borrowed from our culture. That means you have to unlearn 95% of yourself, which is work. And then you got the people that love you. And sometimes the people that love you the most, they support you the least. When you start to change, they're going to say things like, oh, well, you think you better than us now. Oh, you acting all different now. Oh, you and them other little people, she got a new little, so all of that, stuff that doesn't really matter, but it matters to them might keep you stuck in who you were instead of who you're trying to be. So you have to be strong enough and have the mental, spiritual, and emotional fortitude to choose yourself first. But for women, most times it's weaponized and villainized to be that way.
Yes, yes, it is. That's why, one of my main missions with this podcast and with my speaking is to really try to empower women to, create those boundaries because we are so much more powerful than we even give ourselves credit for. I was talking to a
Yeah.
girlfriend this morning and she said something so profound. And, I don't know how to feel about this yet, but it was so profound to me. She said, we as women are so spiritually connected and so energetically powerful, whereas like a woman protects the spiritual realm, men protect the physical realm, right? So
Mhm.
for us, if we just got together and poured our energy into healing our men,
Yes.
my God, the world would be different. The world
Different.
different. And the men wouldn't even have to participate,
Yeah.
just the women getting together energetically focusing on healing. It would be
Yes.
fun.
Yep. I agree. That's good. That's so good.
Yes. I was like, it gave me chills. I'm like, you know what? We got to do women groups. I'm like, let's begin this now.
Yes.
Those
But I have a question for you. Okay, so because I've had both experiences, right? And
Mhm.
I feel like sometimes these empowerment groups are like undercover mean girls.
I don't like that. That's what
Have you experienced that? Have you seen that before?
I've seen it. And you know what? When I'm talking to friends, sometimes it goes there. And then it's just, there's a fine line between
Yes.
empowerment and between like the attitude dogging out guys, which is
Yeah.
I'm super against as well. Like I love men. I love men. Men, there are other halves. So
Yes.
I love men, but I don't ever want to take the power away or dog them or just be an angry woman out here. It's more
Yes.
about just standing so strong in who we are and focusing on empowerment and empowering ourselves and not being a victim, right? So not blaming, he did this, so I feel like this, or he did. No, it's not about he did, honey.
Mhm.
It's about what you did. It's about what
Yes.
you did and what you tolerated. So how do you
Yes.
change your actions to make your life better?
Yes. That's good.
Yeah, it's like I don't ever want to support those groups of like the attitudes and cattiness. It reminds me of high school, like Mean Girls. You're right. You're
It's
right.
there's sometimes some mean because I'm in Atlanta and I have experienced some mean girl stuff, and I'm like, oh, I thought this would be a little bit different. And obviously not with everyone. But it's just like, I have experienced both sides where it's like, oh, okay, this group over here, they're genuinely happy inside of their own life. And so there's no like weird projection. And then I've also seen people where it's like, ooh, this is a facade. So of course there's projection, you
Yeah.
know? That's
Yeah.
everywhere. It's not just Atlanta, it's in life, but
Yeah, in life in general. I mean, it's a polar universe, so I guess you're gonna get, the good with the bad. I just try to, I energetically, you know what, we a lot of times we focus on things we can't even control. And people will get so far deep into the drama or the problems, and it's like, yo, you can't even control those things. And
oh,
energetically, you're sending out waves of negativity, bringing that back to you. So,
yeah.
yeah,
True. One of the things that I say all the time, my sister hates it when I say it. I always say, I don't ask questions of things I don't understand in regards to people. Like, why did that person cut me off in traffic? I don't know. I don't know. I don't ask that question. Jim Rohn always says to say, oh, isn't that interesting? And then you keep your power because you're right. If you do get on that frequency where you go negative, it's like, no, now we're attracting negative, but like, isn't that interesting? Like, oh, that was an experience. Okay. And moving on over here.
that was an experience.
Yes.
I'm gonna use that. That was an
Yeah.
experience. Oh, that person cut me off. That was such an experience.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's
So
empowering. I love that. I love that. Okay. So this question kind of relates to my situation because I know through our life, we have to recreate who we are many, many times. So when
yeah.
you're feeling like you don't even know who you are anymore, how do you start to begin to align with that inside of yours?
Yeah. So I'll say 2023 was one of the hardest years of my life. I feel like that was the year where I was like, they say there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm like here sitting in the dark. Like there's not even a glimpse of light at the end of this tunnel. And I'm talking hard, not because it was just like, oh, my money is low, or oh, I'm feeling a little, out of my body isn't where it wants it to be. I'm talking mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, and energetically. I really felt like the opponent was trying my life. And I literally was telling God, like, surely this is for the people over there. Like I'm obedient, I am self-controlled, I have discipline, I show up, I genuinely love on people. And this is what I'm getting. Like literally, like not me. Like surely this is not supposed to be for me. However, I really held on to, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. And I'm like, I'm not this strong. I'm really not this strong. But I would say that when I went through that time, and even like my dad was going through stage 4 cancer at the time, we thought that we were going to lose him, and praise God, he's still here. But they were literally like, it's a wrap. And now I started thinking about, oh my God, my dad's not going to walk me down the aisle. That's always been a dream for me. And then my own life. And now it was literally just the hardest year of my life. And as an adult, like since I've been on the planet, and I've been through a lot of stuff. Okay. I'm sure you could attest. We've been through a lot of stuff. Life be life.
Yeah.
And when I felt like I was lost, and I don't even just mean lost in the sense of the day to day, I was lost in the sense of like my own compass with myself
Mhm.
wasn't pointing north.
Mhm.
Like I didn't know how to be super powerful international speaker, serial entrepreneur, Sara Fontenot. I didn't know how to do that. And the crazy part is that's so natural for me. Like
Yeah.
positivity is such a choice for me. And when people say, "Oh my God, you're so happy," I'm like, "Yeah, it's a choice." Like it's so intentional, and I had to work so hard just to be happy. So one of the things that I would do is more, and this is why your community is so important. I do this thing called morning vision. And in morning vision, I write down, I'm so blessed, happy, and grateful now that, and I write the future as if it's now.
Mhm.
And then I speak it out loud. I do these 5-minute rounds, and I'm like explaining it like I could see a movie. And so now I started this with 2 girlfriends years ago. And now if you're in my super tight circle, we've all done this together. It's like a part of who we are as a tribe. And I remember writing, and my one of my girlfriends, Lee, major shout out to her. I was like, Lee, and I'm literally sitting there in tears. I get emotional just thinking about it. I'm literally sitting there in tears, and I'm like, Lee, I don't have anything to write. Everything feels so heavy. Like everything just feels so heavy right now. And Lee said, well, Sara, what is light? And she's like, not in color, but in weight. what is light? And I was like, I don't know. Well, I guess I'm here and I have a roof over my head and I'm successful and all these things. And then I found myself being like, but I'm successful. Well, why does it matter? Because I'm fucking married one day. I'm gonna lose my dad. And it was literally just like this whole experience of I was spiraling out of control. Like I had no control. And then I had to remember every time that little devil comes onto your shoulder and starts to tell you the negative, you have to reinforce it with gratitude moments. You have to be able to find, like, what is light? Where can I be grateful? Where can I say, maybe my dad might go, but I know for sure I should relish in the fact that I have him now. I'm so grateful that I'm able to pick up and fly at any given moment and be with my parents in Canada because that's where I'm from, right? I'm so grateful that I'm able to even be aware of what's happening inside of my body so that I can address what's happening. Because a lot of people don't even understand they're a high functioning depressant, right? And so all of these different things, I think when you're on that journey, you have to find gratitude and work your ass off at it because the truth is, that's you got to condition it. How do you get ready for a marathon? You put in miles, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we get out of shape. And that was just an out of shape year for me. I got beat down in 2023, but then 2024 happened. And now 2025 is here.
Yeah.
And these have been really beautiful, expansive, filled with love and gratitude years. So I think you really have to be intentional about focusing on what you do want and not what you don't want. Because
Yeah.
it's like I said, negativity is natural. You have to be positive on purpose.
Oh my God, that's so deep because literally what you just explained feels like what I'm going through, but not my dad. But everything else, it just feels like you don't know who you are. Everything is different, and positivity comes good, easy for me too. So it was, confusion comes in, and you're so right. You have to try to stay in light, stay in love. And so every time recently when I've been feeling like crap, it's just I'll go outside, go for a walk, stand in the sun, breathe deeply, and understand that this is what I just talked about 2 days ago on my life. Find the gift in whatever has hurt you. Find
Yes.
the gifts because there's
Yes.
always gifts. There's always gifts. There's always a purpose. And so when you can find the gift and you focus on the gift, then forgiveness comes,
Yes.
empathy comes, love
Yes.
comes back in, and light comes back in from the darkness cloud that you're in, right? Finding the gift. And yeah, gratitude. It's just one of the most important things, if not the most important thing on the planet. I think it is.
It
I
is too.
I think it really is. So, how do we stop performing for love and then and start receiving it authentically? Because a lot of us are out here trying to act like we're this person, but really, it's not in alignment with what our true selves are. So, how do we really start receiving love authentically?
Yeah, I think you have to stop being someone that you're not.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are on social media constantly comparing ourselves with a mindset of lack instead of a mindset of inspiration. And, almost it's like every month I'm seeing engagements, I'm seeing marriages, I'm seeing babies. And it's like, yeah, that's so beautiful. And God, I can't wait for me and my man to be married. I can't wait for us to have a child if that's in the cards. I can't wait for whatever it is. I'm just excited about it. So I think that one of the most freeing things that you can do is to release attachment to what you think it should be. Because the truth is, it's that attachment that keeps us stuck in who we are and how we are. Because we think that we're supposed to show up and have the bags and have the cars and have the houses and have the this and have that perfect Instagram relationship. Well, transparently speaking, and it's okay for me to just keep it 1,000, right? The second time that I was engaged on Instagram, we were every hashtag, right? We were Black love, relationship goals, power couple. We were Black excellence. We were literally that couple on Instagram. And in reality, it was very toxic, very toxic. And I had to keep putting on for Instagram, which really put me stuck in a cage because I hated being where I was, but everybody's rooting for us so hard. I felt like I'd be letting everyone down if I released the man. And I eventually got to a place where I did choose me and I did have to release him because I'll never forget this man looked me dead in my face and said, "Sarah, you'll never make it. The only way you'd make it is if you married someone who made it." Now, mind you, at the time, I was in the top 6% of a $9.8 billion company, to be perfectly clear. However, and I built to the top 1% at that. However, this man was always trying. It was like, why are we even competing? I'm not competing with you. A relationship does not need to be a competition. Like I add value where I add value. But because I perception was more important than reality, it's like I was living in a fake perception instead of a true reality. And now I understand that a true reality is so much more powerful. I don't care if people are inspired by my relationship or not, but if they are, and I think they are, it's because it's real, not because it's performative. It's because I have been the good, the bad, and the ugly. And also, this just in, most recently, because I'm always glam, right? My makeup's done, my hair's done, everything is in place. You've never really seen me on my page without makeup on. You've never really seen me like, kind of, like when I look like a mud duck, like I woke up like this, and most recently, and maybe it's because I just feel so good in my nervous system. I feel so good inside of all of the things that are happening in my life. I'm posting gym stuff, no makeup on, I just feel so happy being me that now whatever person comes into my life, if you don't add value, I don't want you because your presence has to outweigh my personal peace. So because I have personal peace with me, which took work to get here, by the way, I'm like 20 years in the making, and it's never going to stop, and it's always going to be work, and I'm never going to be perfect, but I'm genuinely happy with where I am in my life because it matters who fills that role to give me marriage and a family. Only the utmost best and alignment is what I'll allow. So I think that when we're honest with who we are, when we are willing to go through whatever it is to get to us, and we uphold that standard for ourselves, I think that's when we start to let go of performing. Because the truth is, it's exhausting. And I've had that performative relationship. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. And now your relationship is so strained because it's like everything has to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. Nothing doesn't exist. you know?
Yes. Oh, I know, girl. I know. Yes, I know. So, how can people tell if they're in a trauma bond or if they're in a real bond? Like the feelings are very similar because it's excitement, but excitement is anxiety. It's that butterfly, right? When you feel those
Yeah.
butterflies, I say run, but what do you say?
I do too. I say run away. Butterflies aren't real. Or just stay and observe. But the truth is, you're having a chemical imbalance in your body. That's just the truth of
Yes, yes.
it.
Oh, right.
No, but if you want to know if you've had a trauma bond, go back to what state were you in when that relationship started? Because I'll tell you what, when my relationship, the 2023, I had a relationship, it was 6, maybe 7 months, felt like 5 years. Okay. It was the most traumatic, trauma-inducing, low vibrational relationship I have ever been in my life. Not to say that that person is a terrible person. They just were not right for me. They do not have the same ethics, codes, or morals. That's the only time I know myself to be cheated on. And for me personally, I think cheating is weak. That's just my personal opinion. Weak does not mean you're a terrible person. It just means you give way under pressure. That's the literal definition of cheating, right? I think it's deceitful. And I think that how are you going to run from a consequence that you created? So I say that to say, not, and also cheating makes some relationships better, breaks others down. So I'm not saying all cheating relationships are finished, but what I am saying is I believe that that man was weak inside of his own self-discipline and self-control, and I can't choose that as a husband. However, because my dad was sick and this same man was chasing me for months, this same man got with me and then he was like, I want to get married. You're my dream girl. And then we started reading 101 questions to ask before you get engaged. And then this is the halftime, right? He asked my dad for permission to marry me in front of my mother and I, right? So it's like he was doing all of these breadcrumbing, gaslighting things, making me believe that he wanted marriage too. And he was so excited and all of these things. But the truth was he wasn't prepared for that. And he definitely wasn't equipped with the capacity for a woman like me. And not to make it, that doesn't make him bad. It just means we're not equally yoked, right? So, and he could probably say the same thing. no, it's giving no. So this is the thing. If you are a pint glass and you're with a shot glass, both of them have their purpose, but a pint will always feel like a shot glass that's pouring into it will always feel a little bit empty. And if you are the pint glass pouring into the shot glass, there's not enough capacity for you. So they just don't go together. So that's ultimately what I'm saying. But I chose that man because he was talking marriage. I needed to get married and I needed to get married fast because I thought I was going to lose my dad. And the truth is, I wanted my dad to walk me down the aisle. So I wasn't choosing this man powerfully. I was choosing this man from trauma. I was choosing this man. It was the hardest year of my entire life. And something at that point, especially if it just meant my dad seeing me as a wife, being able to see his daughter get married, that was so important to me. So I trauma bonded with this man who had a whole bunch of things that happened in his life, from his mom having him when he was young and like a young teen, to being crazy experiences. And I'm not telling you anything that he doesn't share himself, but there's so many different things that he had gone through. He has a lot of trauma that he hasn't even addressed. We trauma bonded, right? And I used to say for months, I would never date this man. I would never date this man until I needed to get married, until I started going through something, until I was real in real life and in real time experiencing real trauma.
Mhm.
Then I chose this man. So go back and ask yourself, what state were you in? Were you choosing powerfully? Or are you choosing from loneliness? Are you choosing because you feel insecure? Are you choosing because you have warm body syndrome? You just want someone to lay next to at night? Are you choosing because your auntie, your mother, and your cousin are telling you that it's you getting old now, girl? Them eggs about to be cooked, right? Like where are you actually choosing from? Are you choosing because this person is in alignment and has similar aligned core values, that truly and genuinely not just loves you, but knows how to love you, which is a whole different storyline and subject and podcast episode, probably, like where were you at? Because we choose different the higher we're vibrating.
Right, right. How would you suggest to decipher between realness and gaslighting? Gaslighting is huge and so it's girl. How do you real? How do you know? How do you know?
Um, I honestly, now the person that I was with, my therapist said, I'm not a therapist, but my therapist said had narcissistic personality disorder. So if you have narcissistic personality disorder, that is way different than you have narcissistic traits. Because the truth is, any successful person has narcissistic traits. You have to believe in yourself. You have to have a higher sense of self. You have to be willing to be like out there and in the one and be like, yeah, I'm the one, like all of these different things. However, narcissistic personality disorder, which is heavily partnered with gaslighting. I did all this research to find out, like, how did I even choose this man? How did this happen to me? Not me. Not me. What are we talking about? And it's funny because God sure has a way of keeping you humble, right? But anyway, you have to observe their actions, because I personally believe it takes 6 months for you to see who someone really is. Like, you can only keep up the representative for so long inside of intentional dating. Now, if you're just, we're going for dinners here and there, you're not having the hard conversations, you only see each other once every other week, maybe once a week, and you're still not having those intentional conversations with the intention of marriage, then it might take longer than 6 months. But if you are being intentional inside of how you're getting to know this person, the questions that you're asking this person, the experience that you're having with this person, how do they resolve conflict? Are they throwing everything back in your face? Are they listening to you? Because this is another thing, Elisabeth, that I learned about me. I pride myself on being an effective communicator, right? Effective. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, I can get a message across to you, especially to my partner. I also deal with top 1% high earning, high value masculine man. Cue the clickbait buzzwords, right? I'm very used to a certain type of man. And so because of that, I'm also very used to learning how to package what I'm trying to say without hurting feelings, without inflating the ego, or without creating distance between the two of us. Now, am I always perfect at it? No, but I'm pretty doggone good at it, right? This man was so gaslighting that I was like, is it me? Like, am I the drama? It got to a point where Gottman, the Gottman theory, he talks about four things in the Gottman theory, and these are the four things that if you have all four of these, you are guaranteed to fail unless you do the fixing of these things. And they are contentment, where you think you're better than someone else, stonewalling, where you shut down, defensiveness, you can't hear anything that they're saying, and criticism, when you're constantly picking at that other person, right? I'm talking 5 months into this relationship, Sara Fontenot, international speaker. Globally, I've spoken in Sweden. I've been translated in Greek. I've been translated in Spanish. I've spoken in almost every state in America. Okay. International speaking Sara was shutting down.
Mm, mm.
The craziest part about it is stonewalling doesn't even usually happen until you're 2 years into a relationship. So you mean to tell me, as effectively communicating as I am, that I just took a 2 year time span and crunched it into 5 months because of how much I went through in that time?
Mm.
That's pretty crazy, you know? And so your body will give you cues. Your body, when you're triggered, triggers are actually really beautiful. It's an opportunity to see this is a wound that I have and it needs to be addressed.
Mhm.
Literally. That is what how we react or respond is in our own emotional regulation. But this is an opportunity to see I'm hurting here and I need to fix it. So your body will give you cues. Number one, for me, my neck starts to get really hot when I'm mad. And I'm like, ooh, okay, little devil, go away, go away, go away. It's not time, not time. And that can happen platonically or romantically, right?
Mhm.
And then also observe that person. With time, I'm going to see. So now it's like I make it very clear in my relationship from the beginning. It's been like, whatever you say, I want you to know I'm counting on you to do. So
Mhm.
don't tell me anything that you can't do, even if it's as small as, oh, you know what? We're going to go on a date next Friday. You better plan the date. Unless hell or high water freezes over, I get it. Or if a work emergency happens, I get it. But if you just forgot or didn't take the initiative or didn't follow through with your plan, that's such a small version of gaslighting. Like it's so small, but I am no longer receiving any person that doesn't have integrity with their word. I'm just not. So we have to be mindful and watch from the beginning because you teach people how to treat you. Now, the first time it happening, am I walking away? No, I'm going to have a conversation.
Mhm.
And I'll probably have 3 to 5 conversations before I'm like, the same problem happening again? Oh
Mhm.
no, I'm out. This is at this point, this is a personality trait, and I don't want him.
Uh-huh.
That was a really long answer, and I'm sorry.
No, so good though. It's so good because I mean it's necessary. All this stuff is necessary. I mean, to watch who people really are because a lot of and I was going to talk about women because I've just been talking to so many women lately and I've been finding them in the same situation over and over and over and over. It's like we want to believe the stuff so bad, so we hold on to those words so hard. And it's
Yes.
like we just keep believing and believing
Yeah.
and believing. And it's like, no, you got to watch action. Only action.
Yes. Yes.
Only.
Because you
Only.
can only fake it for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
fun fact, I heard Matthew Hussey, relationship coach extraordinaire, he's the #1 relationship podcast out there. Matthew Hussey said most people break up 2, 3, 5 years down the line for what they saw in the first 30 days.
Yeah. You know what? That's freaking true. Wow. You know what? And that's so what happens to us? We get these blinders. It's like rose-colored glasses, and then we just
Yeah.
forget. We forget.
Yep.
So how do
Yep.
we come back to ourselves and take the rose-colored glasses off while we're in it? While we're in it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I learned from someone that's been in it, well, first of all, my parents have been together forever. And I'm constantly learning, right? People are like, why are you a relationship coach? You're not married. Okay, I know that, but I've actually observed a healthy relationship my entire life. Multiple, actually. Everyone in my family is married except for me. Actually, well, yeah. Anyway, so I say that to say that, ooh, wait, the question is, why do we get rose-colored glasses?
Yes,
Why
yes.
don't
How do we like take them off while we're inside of it? Because that's what's so hard for people because it's like you love so hard. So you want it to work, but you got to take them off. You got to see reality for what it is, baby.
Yes. So one of the things that I learned to do is to go once a month, you go on a date with this person and you get dressed up and you go to your favorite restaurant or your favorite park or wherever it is. It doesn't have to cost money, right? And you go, or you could even be home, okay? Just phones away, Netflix away. It is literally you and your partner. And it's like the love help date. And in this, you ask specific questions. Questions like, do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do
Mhm.
you feel appreciated? Where can, and if they say no, okay, well, where can I help you to feel more appreciated? How can I help you to feel more desired? As a married couple, are we having enough sex? Are you still attracted to me? Any of the things, and nothing is off the table. So, whatever you feel like you really need to talk about, you go, and you go with the intention of knowing that this is a date where no matter what, you cannot get mad at your partner for telling the truth. And that's what a lot of us as women do. We don't want to hear the truth. And so we keep the rose colored glasses on because we don't want to have accountability to the truth. The truth is, some of us get real comfortable real fast. The truth is, oh, baby, you gained 50 pounds in 6 months. What's going on? The truth, or maybe it's in 2 years that this isn't what, like, how did we get here? Maybe I'm a little less attracted. Could we get in the gym? Are you willing to have those conversations? Right? Or are you holding on so tight to marriage and a family that you keep the rose colored glasses on,
Mhm.
right? So I think that when you have the real conversations and you know that you cannot get mad, you cannot feel away, you cannot you cannot pick up an attitude because this man said, you don't dress the same way that you used to dress. You don't do your hair the way that you used to do your hair. And also for women, we need to know most men are aesthetic, masculine men anyway, most masculine men are aesthetic. Are we still doing our part inside of that? And then also, are we still being the nurturers? Are we still being loving and kind? Because I can speak from a woman because I'm a woman. I can't speak for a man, but what I know is we get lazy in our partnerships. We lose the spark because we're not intentional about keeping it. So, how can we keep that spark alive? Well, that only happens with course correction along the way. And if you don't course correct, you build resentment. And
Yeah.
most people have interest of resentment. You know what I mean? It's just compound interested resentment built up in their relationship. And now to get back to ground zero is so challenging.
Yeah, yeah. I think that resentment leads to the ick. You heard of the ick? Like all of a sudden it's that's all resentment. That's just unspoken words that could have been shared and cleared along the way. So I love that. That's such a good tip. One date per month that everything is on the table. Everything.
Everything,
Everything.
everything. And then also go, if you're home, have on something sexy, get it in that night. Make sure you stay, whatever that looks like for you, stay connected.
Yeah.
My parents are almost 70 and they still hold hands, they still kiss, they are the cutest old couple I have ever seen in my life. My sister's been married for, like, with her guy for 23 years. My oldest brother's, he on this past, oh, it is May, no, it's March, they just hit 30 years. Like, I I've only ever seen relationships, marriages, and they're not easy too, because there's nothing easy about hearing, "Oh, baby, I would love for you to get in the gym."
Mhm.
That sucks. There's
Yeah.
nothing easy about hearing, you used to wear makeup and, get dressed, and now you're always tired because of the kids.
Mhm.
Okay. And for a man, it's not easy for him to hear, I need more help at home.
Mhm.
It's not easy. But when you have those conversations and you can have the solutions.
Yes, so freaking good. Okay. Before we get out of here, I have to ask questions for myself for divine feminine and masculine. So because you're so entrepreneurial, right? You're like a businesswoman, you're a worldwide speaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, when I was stepping into these positions of power, right, within an executive and a huge brand and company, it's like you have to kind of fall into your masculine energy because you're running the ship, right? So you do this, you do this. How do you balance your energy so you don't get stuck? Because you know what? I found myself more masculine for hustle, 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 work, work, work. I mean, the business, it has to be, you have to be, have attention to it all the time. So,
Yeah.
how do you shift back or how do you balance those energies within yourself?
Yeah. So when I'm working, I think that I actually will say, okay, guys, friend hat off, work hat on, and it's a literal switch. So you can see, because my desire is to be in my feminine. So I want to be little angel muffin pootie kitten love when I'm with my man. Like, oh my God, I would live in your skin if I could. Like my man, my man, my man. I am all about that. I am a stage 4 clinger. Okay. If you move out of the bed, you will be off of this bed before you get out of this bed, because as you move, I'm following you in the bed. I am that clingy. Okay. And I love that that's loved, because if it wasn't, I'm like, I could never be with a person that doesn't do physical touch. Anyway, I say that to say that having masculine energy is perfect inside of the workplace, because the masculine energy, it just means decisiveness, it's clarity, it's action oriented, it's producing results, it's grounded, it's rooted, it's clear, right? Whereas feminine energy is more flow, it's loving, it's nurturing, it's kind, it's creative, it's all of these different things. So I do personally, I'm definitely feminine presenting, but when I'm in the workforce, I would say I'm probably 50-50 masculine, feminine. And then when I'm home, I'm probably like 70-30 masculine, or 70 feminine, 30 masculine. And honestly, I'm really trying to get it to like 85-15 when I'm home, because the truth is sometimes I forget. Sometimes there's conversations where it's like, oh, I just got into this investment, and my brain immediately goes to, oh my God, I have this investment too. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's whatever, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes it's just about listening. So another cool tip and trick that I heard, I'm just, sharing these random things, is ladies, if you find yourself in your masculine often and you find yourself masculine with your man, one thing to do is when he starts talking, if he pauses, like inside of his whatever he's saying, count to 30 in your mind. Don't say anything and just look at him wide-eyed. Like, just like be there. Don't, because oftentimes we cut them off. They don't even get to finish saying what they're saying. They don't feel seen. And a masculine man wants to teach you. They want you to learn. They want you to feel like they are the one, like they are leading the ship and doing such a good job. So how do they feel that way if we have all the answers? That's another thing I stopped doing. I don't have solutions unless you want me to have a solution. Now, I have a solution ready. However, if it's not warranted, no, you are leading this ship, and I'm just going to trust that, because I had to have this conversation with myself of what part of me still even feels like I need to lead in my relationship. Because the truth is, if you feel that way, you don't feel safe, which is a trick question, right? If you feel like I can just be me, I can just, ooze, I can whatever, then you're safe. Like you feel safe. And I feel like that is one of the most beautiful representations of a truly masculine man, is a feminine woman.
That's what I was just about to say. A strong woman is not happy in their relationship, but a happy woman, a flowy woman, is secure with a safe relationship. Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Totally. Oh my God. So
30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I was like, what? 30?
That's a long time. I'll be sitting there like,
just count. Just like literally Bambi. Like just be like smiling, like looking, like, oh my God. And one, in my mind, 2, 3. Like if no, and it might be awkward. And he might look at you like, what, babe? Oh, were you gonna finish?
I love that. I love that. That would make a man feel so powerful within his and energy. Can you imagine?
Yes.
Finish yes. What you were telling me. I love that. So easy. Okay, Sarah. So at the end of every episode, I always ask my community, I let them know who I'm interviewing so they can get some questions in. And I usually ask about 3. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay, let's see here. Okay. Let me find it. Let's see, general. Okay. And they said, oh good, we have a ton. Oh man. Okay. How did your journey start, and know that this will be my purpose and share with the world, says Sharona Fernandez.
My journey started because I never felt like I fit in. It goes all the way back to Canada. I was the only Black girl in every grade. I always felt misunderstood. And it was really like, I always like, I'm weird. I'm just weird. And my mom was like, no, baby, you're unique and it's okay. And it's special. My mom has always said, like, you are a platinum needle in a haystack. And for me now that I'm able to be like, yeah, I'm a platinum needle in a haystack. Like it's okay to be different. And so that journey started because I started boldly moving in my uniqueness and people loved it. And now I think people call it authenticity, but I think that keeps a lot of people around and it keeps people feeling comfortable and knowing like regardless, you gonna get me. Whatever version of me I am, you're
Mhm.
gonna get. And I'm okay with that now.
I love that. I love that. Nidhi says, what is the most important aspect of self-love and approach to practice?
Ooh, most important aspect of self-love is self-control and self-discipline.
Mhm.
And I say that because you can be as beautiful as you want, but if you don't get control over your finances, because to be feminine and to have self-love also means we're not broke and struggling, right? I think one of the most feminine things we can do for ourselves is have money. But getting self-control and discipline in our spending, in our eating, in our gym time, in our spiritual life, in our energy, like really taking actionable steps. So one of those things for me, emotionally, spiritually, I do morning vision. You know, it's one of the ways that I set myself up. Another thing that I do, as soon as I open my eyes in the morning, I open my eyes and in my mind, I'm like, another day, literally just like that. And then I close my eyes and I immediately imagine like a halo or sonic ring that's spinning and I put it all the way around my body and I'm sending love and I'm sending peace, I'm sending prosperity and I'm sending healing and I'm sending favor and I close it around my toes and then I do it around my closest loved ones. And then I wake up, I make my tea, I morning journal, I go to the gym, I come back while I'm showering, I'm listening to gospel. When I get out, I'm listening to a book. By the time I'm done my morning regiment, this is Sparta. Do you hear me? Like, you can't mess my day up. Like, I am Vegeta at this point. If you know what Dragon Ball Z is, I have literally gone to the next level of
Yes,
who I think I'm supposed to be.
yes.
And so I would practice those things.
I love that. I do the same thing, girl. I'm like, I do my thing. I have my journaling. I've already seen what today is about to be like. So I'm
Yep.
showing up like I am here.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
Powerful, powerful. Okay, last one. Thema Angel says, do you have any regrets in life? Why or why not?
No, I don't have any regrets. And the reason why is because everything that I did in the moment, even if I look back now and I'm like, ooh, I probably shouldn't have done that. It was really honest for me in that moment.
Mhm.
One thing about me is I move with integrity. And even if you don't like it, I meant it. And if you love it, I meant it, you know? And so one of the things that I am very intentional about is staying in integrity. I would say God is that source point. I don't stray far from my integrity. If I don't want to do it, I'm going to say no. If I can only kind of do it, I make that clear. If I'm excited about it, I'm going to like no matter what, I'm always going to do my best. And if I even if my best was trash at that moment, that's all I had to give. So no, I don't have any regrets. I haven't strayed far from integrity most of my adult life, to be honest.
I love that. I love that. Well, Sarah, where can people find you and what are you working on? What do you want to tell the people?
Oh my gosh, yay! Hi guys. So you can find me at Ms. Sara Fontenot on all platforms, MsSaraFontenot.com. We have a really cool How to Be Feminine ebook or How to Be More Feminine. It's an intro to femininity. So it's 10 really quick steps. There's an ebook and there's a video. I personally, they're both awesome. Not gonna lie, they're both pretty great. And it's an intro. So it's like, what can I start doing? These are them. There's that. I actually just got cast on a new show that's streaming live. It's called Truth Talks. It's season 2. So if you guys want to check that out, that's what we're working on right now as a full-time host on the show. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's pretty much me, Ms. Sarah Fontenot, MsSaraFontenot on all platforms.
Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure, Sarah. And I look up to you so much and I'm just so blessed. I feel so empowered leaving this conversation, the world of knowledge. I mean, everything that you're so wise and beautiful and just in your feminine, just leading women. And I appreciate so much your message and everything that you've done in the world. So thank you so much for coming on my podcast, girl. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for having me again. I love what you're doing. I love that you're starting this new platform, this new journey. I know God is just going to have his hands all up in it, whipping it up, and it's going to transform and bless so many lives. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm really excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. All right, guys, until next time, this was Unlimited with Elisabeth Carson. Peace, peace, peace.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and don't necessarily reflect those of the producers or affiliates. We do not guarantee the accuracy of the content. Please verify information and seek professional advice when needed. By listening, you agree not to hold us liable for any actions taken based on this content. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you enjoy the episodes ahead. Love unlimited, feel unlimited.
Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I invite you to stay on this journey with me. There is so much more ahead. Courses, mentoring, healing circles, retreats, safe spaces to heal and grow. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and stay connected. We are not alone. In this journey, we're on it together.